We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Helene deaths mount. Israel strikes more Hezbollah targets and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Hurricane Helene made landfall along the U.S. Gulf Coast a week ago, decimating communities across the southeast and leaving more than 190 people dead in 6 states. Life-saving aid continues to flow into regions that were hit hard by the deadly storm, and President Biden vowed to provide resources to aid in the recovery operations as he directed the Department of Defense to deploy 1,000 active duty soldiers to support the delivery of essential food, water, and other commodities to those who need it most. People were warned yesterday against all contact with water bodies affected by the extreme flooding in East Tennessee. The advisory was issued by the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation and applies to all waters affected by flooding. The TDEC said several wastewater treatment plants have been compressed in Helene's flooding and are temporarily unable to completely treat wastewater before it enters receiving waters. Further, sewer line crossings also may have been severed or damaged following the storm. The Israeli military launched an airstrike in central Beirut, marking a gradual expansion of what it says are strikes targeting Hezbollah in the Lebanese capital, as its forces fight with the militant group in the country's south. The strike in Beirut's Bakura neighborhood early Thursday killed at least 6 people, according to the Lebanese health ministry. Witnesses said there were strikes on 2 different apartments on the same floor of a building shortly after midnight. The Israeli military said that it had conducted a precision strike in Beirut without offering further details. It wasn't immediately clear if the statement was in reference to the same attack. The Bakura strike is the second time that Israel has struck within the city limits of the Lebanese capital since it launched an escalation of its campaign against Hezbollah and other militant groups in Lebanon. Most of its other airstrikes have targeted the southern suburbs of Beirut, targeting what Israel says are Hezbollah facilities. President Biden told reporters on Wednesday he wouldn't support Israel striking Iran's nuclear facilities, though he stressed that the U.S. and its Western allies are discussing new sanctions against Iran in response to its ballistic missile attack against Israel. Israel is preparing to respond to Iran's massive missile attack on Tuesday with attacks inside Iran in the coming days, part of a spiraling tit-for-tat after Israel assassinated top Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iranian officials. The United Nations Security Council met on Wednesday following Iran's unprecedented attack on Israel, but overshadowing the meeting was Israel's announcement that it had banned the U.S. Secretary General due to his failure to condemn Iran. Anyone who cannot unequivocally condemn Iran's heinous attack on Israel does not deserve to step foot on Israeli soil, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said about the decision to declare UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres as persona non grata. This is an anti-Israel Secretary General who lends support to terrorists, rapists, and murderers, Katz argued. Guterres will be remembered as a stain on the history of the UN for generations to come. Iran on Tuesday fired over 180 ballistic missiles at Israel after the death of the Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah and after the Israel Defense Forces began focused incursions into Lebanon to hit the terrorist group. Russia took control of Volodar in eastern Ukraine this week after Ukrainian troops withdrew from the town to avoid being surrounded. It is the latest setback for Kiev, where after a years-long stalemate, Russian forces are now advancing. Ukrainians on the front line say improved Russian tactics and superior firepower have tilted the balance in the enemy's favor. In a 165-page filing unsealed yesterday, Special Counsel Jack Smith presented the evidence he has to argue that Donald Trump was acting in his private capacity as a candidate and not in his official role as a president on January 6, 2021. The filing is part of Smith's effort to keep his case alive after the Supreme Court's recent ruling granting broad immunity to presidents for official acts. Rather than acting as the president, the brief claims that Trump resorted to crimes to try to stay in office. Trump was not a candidate at the time of the January 6th incident. The University of Wyoming's women's volleyball team forfeited a game against a team from San Jose State University that included a biological male. They are the third team this season to refuse to play against San Jose State, while one member of San Jose's women's team is suing the NCAA over its current gender policies. San Jose administrators say they are complying with NCAA rules, but that's not the point. The problem is those rules don't keep the game fair and women safe. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.